All right, so I want to just start by talking about the goal that we set. We said students will collaborate for a minimum of 10 minutes in each lesson. But I do have some tools, and you mentioned a tool specifically you'd like to use
Okay.
as Nearpod. I made some checklists here
Okay.
for collaborative learning, what successful collaborative learning would look like, what successful collaborative learning in Nearpod would look like. I also made it for Flipgrid and Canvas boards. We're going to go through these checklists just one bullet point at a time. If you want to reword something, knock
right.
something out, however we want to modify it, this is a living document. I have it right here pulled up so that you can write on this. We'll
Okay.
edit it, and I can print a new one.
All right.
Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to look over is successful collaborative learning, because that's what the goal kind of centers around, is collaboration. We're going to go one bullet point at a time, and I'm just going to ask you whether you like it. And
Okay.
all right, so the teacher has created a psychologically safe environment. You feel
Yes.
it? And I noticed that in your video to start with, students were comfortable with you, so we're good with that one.
I am.
Okay. The teacher has written expectations for how students should act, talk, and move while they perform cooperative learning.
This time of the year, they're not written and they're not displayed in my room because of their age. I verbally give all of my expectations. We go through the handbook and all of that the first 2 weeks of school. And as new students come into our room, we'll revisit it and,
Okay.
and go, what do we expect, that sort of thing. But no, there's nothing written out, but it is verbally expressed daily.
Has verbal and clear expectations. Does
Daily.
that sound good? Here, I'll let you write it,
Okay.
and I'll type it, just
Okay.
kind of make it. So you want it to say verbal and clear
Yes.
expectations
Please.
for how students should act, talk, and move while they perform cooperative learning activity. And I'm trying to think of where
During
we.
the cooperative?
During, yeah, so as they're doing the cooperative learning. So where would you want me to put daily? Because I know you said that twice. So it just has verbal and clear expectations daily? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, and I'll print this out, reprint this.
No problem.
When we're done. So.
Okay.
So we're going on to the third one
All
now,
right.
and I'll look on here while you look there. Students have learned the expectations for how to act, talk, and move during the cooperative learning activity.
Yes, by the end of October, all of my children know my expectations of my classroom and what I expect for them during a classroom
Okay.
activity. I'm
So
sorry.
that goes back to those clear expectations you have. So that's perfect. Okay, so students have learned and used appropriate social skills to ensure they interact positively and effectively during the activity.
And they will say something occasionally that's not appropriate, that's not allowed. It's what I call it in my classroom. And I will correct their behavior and say, what can we replace that with?
Okay.
We're not allowed to say we hate anything. We've got to be open-minded. And if that happened yesterday,
All right. So we're good with that one, though?
Yep.
Okay.
that's going to
Here we
happen every
go.
day.
The teacher has carefully considered the optimal makeup of each group of students.
Yes, and that changes whenever there's a need for change.
Okay. So we're good with that one. The teacher has given students enough time for each activity without providing so much time that learning loses intensity.
Yes, and I always have something that will enrich or enhance what we're doing if someone does finish.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so you want to add one thing in just to say we have, or you think
Always.
it's known? We don't need to add that into the checklist, that you have something like
I
an
think
extension activity?
Every good teacher would.
Okay.
I've already got 4 or 5 people that are finished with the timeline, but in my mind, I've got to have something for them to do that's in that same standard.
So we're going to add that in just because if you feel like that's a part of it, okay. The teacher
Not sure what other people
has
do.
provided students who finish early with extension activities.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I added that in. Let me just click.
Not necessarily more work, but just going deeper.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. So we're good there. All right. So Now we're going to go to the checklist for Nearpod in terms of cooperative learning with Nearpod. I didn't make a full checklist for how to use Nearpod, just as it
Right.
deals with cooperative
Assuming we
learning.
know.
Yes, yeah. I didn't want to give you a list of
Thank
20
you.
checks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to be. Teacher has created slides with information. So basically, like note slides.
Right, based on standards.
Yeah, so that's good.
Yep.
Okay. Teacher has incorporated at least one activity after no more than 4 information slides. So no more than 4 straight note slides before you have a new activity.
Yes.
Does that sound good?
Yes, and that's what we're going to work on.
Yeah, we can edit and modify some of yours. I can show you one
Thank
of my Nearpods and I can work you through how it
Okay.
works. Then you and I can. We won't do it on the video,
Okay.
but
All right.
I can help you kind of modify it to where we can meet that if
Okay.
needed. There's at least one piece of technology for every 2 students, whether it be Chromebook or student.
Okay. Okay. Or,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be BYLD
Okay.
or
Yes, we have that.
okay. All right. So, all right. Students collaboratively answer a question, share answers, or review answers during or after each activity slide.
Yes.
So we like this,
Yes.
and you feel like this is conducive to collaborative learning during Nearpod.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Before we go any further, the activities where they have to that they have to answer in a certain time. I know everybody doesn't like timed activities, but it gets them more on their game,
All right.
on their vocab.
All right. So we also have a back here for Flipgrid.
Okay.
You and I talked about Flipgrid. You just don't have time right now for Flipgrid, is what you were saying, correct?
Never used it.
Okay.
I think I may have tried it once, but I've never used it intensely in a classroom. And we have November 5th is a teacher work day. Can try to
Yeah,
work with
well-
somebody that day.
We'll knock it out, right? Let's just X this out because we don't need it here right now.
Okay.
We'll just use tools you're comfortable with for
Thank
now.
you.
So
Sure.
the last one I added on here is Canvas discussion boards, how you can jigsaw a topic
Okay.
to have students collaborate. And you've used discussion boards before, so
Yes.
I figured that would be a good one to include here. So the first little check mark we would have is the teacher has created a discussion post with multiple topics where the teacher can assign students different topics, where you can jigsaw.
Yes.
Does the wording there make sense to you?
Where the teacher can assign each individual student a different topic. Yes.
Okay, all right. Students must do research in order to construct knowledge.
Yes. Perfect.
Students create an original post where they describe or explain their topic.
Yes, we have to talk about plagiarism all the time.
We can add that in. Do you want to add that in?
It's a big deal when they're copying
Okay.
from historical.
Here, let's add that in. Or students create an original post
There you go.
without plagiarizing. So we can just add that in there.
Well, they think if they copy a sentence from an article that it's
And just
theirs.
put quotations
Yeah.
around it.
We're
Yeah.
learning the difference.
Yes, yes. I know. I'm dealing with the same thing.
Okay.
All right, let me make sure plagiarizing is spelled correctly. There we go. I added without plagiarizing. There. And then the last one, students must reply to their peers who wrote about different topics in order to compare and contrast.
Yes.
So we like all 4 of these.
Yes, and those guidelines will have to be set in place so there's nothing, there's construction criticism maybe, but I may keep it on a positive note. They're just comparing and contrasting.
Yes.
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 Yes. Because I don't want anybody to say anything negative.
So do you want to have something about the teacher has clear directions
Yes.
about student? Okay. Let's add that in right above that, just because before students reply, we need to have clear directions. So the teacher has clear directions for the structure of student replies.
Yes. Good.
All right, so we added that in. Perfect. All right, so we have that. What we want to talk about now, we've gone through each one of these. One thing we can model is Nearpod. What I'd like to do for you, and then we can do a different modeling technique, is I want to just show you how I model with my Nearpods.
Okay.
And then we can talk about different ways you can see it done by different people, not just
Okay.
me. So one of my Nearpods right here, it's one of the, it's a really short one. It's OPEC. So I always start with the standard on here just so students know exactly what they're learning. And then I have an information slide. So I'd go through this, I'd give them time to write about it, then I would talk about what is OPEC. And it would be a lot of me talking. And then typically, after no more than 4 slides like I have on that checklist
Right.
here, I would have some sort of activity slide. On this one, I have a question. So they would look at a picture here, a graph, and they would answer that question. And I could have them do it individually and think, pair, share type of thing where they answer individually, they pair up, they talk with each other about it, and then they share it with a larger group or as a class. Or another way I could do it, depending on the students, if I have them sharing technology, I may have them talk about it together. So the question here is, if OPEC wanted to raise the price of oil, what do you think OPEC would do? And they would look at the amount of oil reserves they have here, and they could talk about how they could talk supply and demand type of thing. So you could get think, pair, share, or have them partner up originally and then
Okay.
share with small groups. Then we go over the answer as a class, talk about it. I have another information slide. Then on this one, it goes straight into another question where I have them, again, you can think, pair, share, individually answer the question, or partner up and look for answers together, depending on how much technology you have, or depending on the type of activity. And then I have another question. Again, I would probably do think, pair, share, or partner up for the question, can OPEC impact the price of other goods? So the previous question, they look at different products made with oil, and then they know OPEC can raise or lower the price of oil through supply and demand. Then they can talk about how OPEC impacts the price of rubber or paint or those things that also use
Okay.
oil. Then I have one more information slide, and it goes, or 2 more information slides. Then they go into interpreting political cartoons. I would probably, for a political cartoon, have them talk about it together, talk about it in a small group, and then talk about it as a whole group just to go over it. And at the end of this, they're going to make a meme.
Yes, okay.
So I gave them an example of a meme for a website that does that. And then they would open the web page, and I would show them how to work the web page first. And then with partners, I would
Okay.
have them create that. So together they can make their meme, or as small groups, so 2, 3 students.
And they'll be just shared on the Nearpod.
Yeah, and then we can have students walk up and show them if they wanted
Okay.
to.
After they create them on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
or you have the perfect setup with these tables here where students are facing each other. So you could have them turn around like they're with their shoulder
Right.
buddies, and then they could show their face partners, and they could talk about what their meme means.
Okay.
So that's how I've done a Nearpod before, but there's other activities you could do. They have matching where students
Right.
can match together, or there are questions, or there's time to climb, which is kind of like a hoot or quiz is, and they can do that as well. Some other ways you can look through this, because I know I just gave you a quick rundown of how I do it. There's another teacher we teach with who's really good at using Nearpods. You can go into her class and observe her,
Okay.
or you can watch a video of her using the Nearpod for
Okay.
collaboration. If you want me to come into your classroom, you don't have to. I can come in and kind of model what I just did with your students, or co-teach, so you teach it, and then when we do the collaboration, I'm just in there showing them how to do the collaborative
Okay.
part. So what's another way of modeling you would like to do? So I'm asking, do you want me or another teacher to model this to you? Because I'd like you just to I'd like you to observe someone else using Nearpod for collaboration.
I think we've talked about it. I'll come watch you do the lesson before
Okay.
I do it, because you put in several comments that I don't even know that other teachers, because it's their other subject, would
Okay.
put in. So I could come and watch you the period that you have children. I don't.
That's fine.
Is that all right?
That's fine. If you'd like to come watch me, you can come
Or
watch
you could
me.
come in here and help me.
It's your choice though.
Okay.
So I want you to do.
I'll come watch you do it.
Okay, you can come watch me. And then I'm going to talk with another teacher as well.
Okay.
About a video.
Yes.
And see if they can do a video. That way you just don't get my opinion on
Okay.
it. Because they may do something totally different from me that still allows collaboration to
Yes.
occur. Does that make sense? Because everybody's a little bit different, and I'd like you to see multiple perspectives on this. So you can come into my
I can
classroom.
see both. I could go see both.
Yeah. How
not a
about
big
this Thursday? You can come by my classroom if you're free.
Yeah.
If you're free,
Maybe
or
Friday.
next, or Friday, or next Tuesday. I have another one. So one of those 3 days. Next Wednesday. then.
Wednesday. Okay.
So one of those 3 days.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right.
whichever one you want, just
Okay.
the first.
Can I have this?
Yeah, that's yours. That's yours.
Okay.
So come. You don't need to watch the whole lesson, by the way. So just come by for the first 20 minutes, and you'll get to see that.
We're recording again.
So one thing we need to do is we need to set a time for you to implement collaborative learning within a Nearpod or a Canvas discussion post. Next week, I know we have the same plans. Next week, I think it's next Friday or Thursday, you have a Nearpod going on. So how does next Thursday sound for you implementing some of these collaborative learning strategies you observe in my classroom and the other teacher's classroom? So next Thursday sound good for implementing
Yes.
these strategies within Nearpod?
Yes.
Awesome.
That'd be
All right.
great.